All right, so now speaking of Beyonce, let's talk about her. So apparently there is a fan out here who's complaining and said they want a refund on a $700 Cowboy Carter ticket because they felt like they was duped into buying a ticket for her upcoming tour. They said that they was disappointed in the things that they saw. So one frustrated fan is speaking out after what they call the worst concert experience of my life, claiming that they were left completely blindsided and nearly $700 lighter during Beyonce's recent show at SoFi Stadium. From distorted sound to shockingly bad seating, the attendee says everything that can go wrong did, saying, quote, "It turned out to be a waste of money," the fan said in a Daily Mail report, noting that while others snagged cheap seats in the nosebleeds for the same price as a McDonald's meal, they opted for pricier seats in the first elevation just above the floor for a better view of the superstar's blockbuster stage. Well, I will tell y'all this. I always tell people don't get tickets for the floor. And it depends on the way it's designed, but for the most part, the stage, the way it's leveled according to where the seats are, a lot of people have a hard time seeing. Like when I worked the recent Rima concert, you know how many people I had to go over and tell them get they behind off or the chairs because they were standing on the seats. And so people, it depends on the situation. Like based off of height, some people have a hard time seeing the stage. So I always say, like, yeah, just because you spend a whole lot of money on the floor, and I think it's all ego with a lot of people. Oh yeah, I spent $800. I spent $1,200 for floor seats. I'm like, okay, but you can't really see the you don't get a really good eye view of the stage, which is why I always recommend when we do shows or whatever. I always tell people get tickets in the 100s. The way it's leveled, and depending on where in the 100s you get a better view versus being on the floor. And I work floors at stadium concerts. And the way the stadium, this is why I don't like stadium shows. I actually prefer arenas. Arenas, even though it does pull in 20,000, it feels more intimate. Like, for example, when Madonna did her celebration tour, even though it's huge in there, it did feel a little more intimate. Like you felt like you were close to everything. And she made it feel that way. So I guess it's all about the team of people who understand not just what you trying to put all these big things on stage and you trying to show out with all these props and stuff, but how does it look in the eye of the viewer? And I don't think Beyonce thinks in that way. Beyonce think I got this extravagant stage, which from the bird's eye view that I've seen, I didn't even realize this. First of all, you know the backdrop that she has, the big LED screen, it's actually designed like a pair of shades. And the stage is designed like a guitar, which I didn't notice. But and it's cute that you spend all that money on that design. But when people have a hard time trying to see what's going on, it's like, yeah, that becomes a problem. So they said at $350 per ticket, the fan thought that they were investing in a once in a lifetime experience, saying, I want to be close to the action and had been advised that these would be better than floor seats because I'd get amazing view of Beyonce's blockbuster stage production. I was confident I'd found two of the best seats in the house, they explained, despite being tempted to get something cheaper that was more in the budget. Say, I couldn't believe that I'd spent $700 for me and my friend to see Bey live, but she is the most awarded artist in Grammy history and has been lauded as the greatest performer to ever grace the stage. And I'm sitting there thinking, so sis, you don't have a mind of your own when you could actually just thought about, you know what? Is this something that I really want to invest in? Because what people have to realize is anything that you spend your money on is an investment. And you also have to realize that whatever you spend your money on, there's no guarantee that things are going to work out in your favor or the way that you want it. I could understand if you bought a specific row and you had a ticket for that row and then the people miscalculated the amount of rows that they was going to put for the section that you were in, so there was a mistake made and the seat that you actually paid for was moved over to another row. We actually had that situation happen. That's why I'm bringing this up. So we had a situation where there was a girl that had a seat for a concert. I'm not going to say which one, but for a section, it was B6. They moved her to C1, which was next to the stage, but it was on the right-hand side. So you actually got a side view of everything versus you actually being in section B, which was centered by where the stage is. So her section didn't exist. So they moved her to C1 and she was upset about it. because she was like, I bought tickets for this particular section because I wanted to be right in the front where I could see all the action. And so it was dealt with, but I totally understand where she was coming from because she spent all this money for a specific section, but the people miscalculated. It wasn't necessarily our fault. It was just based off the stage, whatever the case was, that they messed up in the overall design. So the seat that she paid for didn't exist. So yeah, these are things that you have to deal with, and you have to realize that there's, risk in everything you pay for. So if you're gonna be spending that kind of money, is it the people's fault that you didn't have the greatest time? And depending on the way that they set up everything. So they said, as Beyonce kicked things off with the American Requiem, an usher led the fan to their seat, and the view was anything but flawless, saying, quote, not only was there gigantic scaffolding in front of me blocking half the stage, right next to it was some kind of huge box-shaped structure with people on top that blocked another chunk of my view. The fan recalled to the Daily Mail piece, surely there was some mistake. Despite spending hours reaching the section on Ticketmaster and third-party sites, even scouting concert photos and customer views to ensure the view would be unobstructed, the attendees said there was no warning about the blocked sight lines. Well, here's the thing. This is how. Let me tell you. This is how I cover my ass. We had this situation happen during the Disturbed concert. So where they had me positioned, it was on the side of the stage, and there was a lot of scaffolding and things that was on the side that was blocking people's view. So the person that was managing that the floor that was on, because I was in the 100s that night, I actually let her know that this is the outcome of the situation, what's going on. Like, I just want to put you on game just in case you get bombarded with a lot of it. So I'm always in a collaborative situation. If I'm in a specific section, I always clear it with the management, being like, this is how this look. Do you know what's going on? I know guests is going to come and have a concern about the overall design or whatever the case is. So I cover my butt and I make sure the manager is put on so that way they're not out here looking crazy. So it's always a collaborative thing. I don't know if that person, whoever was working that section, dealt with that during the time, but I'm always looking out for not only my butt, but I'm always looking out for the people that purchase tickets in that section. Because yeah, when you go online and you purchase them tickets, you're actually going off of what you may think based off the design of the stage, if you actually got a good seat. And if you didn't, we try to do things to accommodate people and try to get them where they can. Sometimes it works, sometimes you're not able to do it. But for the most part, we try to do the best we can with depending on the situation. So this is why I said, like, the floor, like, this is why I said I don't understand why Beyonce decided to do a stadium tour, because she could have did an arena and it would have been fine. But this is what she wanted to do. And people have to realize that this is the overall risk that you're going to have to deal with. Now, despite spending hours researching the section on Ticketmaster and third-party sites, even scouring concert photos and customer reviews to ensure the view would be unobstructed, the attendee said there was no warning about blocked sight lines, saying, I frantically checked my tickets again to see if there had been some motion of an obstructive view that I had missed, but there wasn't. I felt completely bamboozled. The fans said that they attended plenty of concerts before and were shocked there was no disclaimer. They always warn you about obstructive views, and the ticket price usually affects that. That is true. They do warn you about obstructive views, because usually when I have my roll calls and stuff, they will let you know that certain spots, if you pay for a ticket in the space, just know that it is an obstructive view. Now, the fans said that they said, well, Beyonce's team tried to make up for it by mounting a TV screen to the back of the box. It didn't help much. Girl, first of all, nobody's going to your concert, no Chitlin Circuit tour, to sit up in here and watch a damn screen, which, quiet as it's kept, it seemed like that's what a lot of y'all was doing based off of y'all recording, that y'all had to sit and watch a damn screen. If that's the case, you could have just did a one night only type situation at Coachella, or allegedly next year they're trying to recruit her to do the Rio show, similar to Madonna and Gaga, and just have a bunch of cameras film it, and you could have just outsourced it to the movies or a streaming service, and you could have just made your big ones and kept it moving. I'm not paying $700 to watch no damn LED screen. Fuck out of here. Or no TV screen. She said, I just traveled an hour. Don't even ask me how much the Uber cost. And spent $700 for me and my friend to watch Beyonce on a TV that was smaller than the screen some people have in their home theaters. Adding insult to injury, half the seats in the sold out section were suddenly empty. Well, the child, look, there was another story that I had posted, and I should have added it with this, where they said that, yeah, they had put like some black sheets and stuff over the chairs. And I had the Twitter posts and stuff where it actually showed like the circled seats that were empty. And they said that apparently people who had arrived early had complained and were moved. I tried to do the same and ask a staffer, but it was so loud we could barely communicate. She directed me downstairs, but then the floor staff wouldn't let us through. The stadium speakers were pointed directly at our section, making each one of Beyonce's hits deafeningly loud and distorted. I'm not trying to sound like the quintessential Karen that complains that the concert is too noisy, but the audio from my seat was so blown out that bass sounded like she was wailing into a toddler's plastic karaoke machine at full blast. And that's another thing too. When y'all close to them, you got to really think about all of that. It's not only just the stage design, the audio too. If you're too close to the speakers, or if you were to like a little too close to where the speakers are, the speakers do sound distorted and they do sound pretty bad and they do sound crazy. So the sound quality and all the other stuff, it definitely does sound messy, because I've been in places where I've worked on before and I'm like, oh, that audio sound a little rough. Now, despite the chaos, the attendees decided to stop fighting and just try to enjoy the show from what they dubbed the dreaded chorale. But by then, not the dreaded chorale, the damage was done. Saying, I'd already missed Babe riding a mechanical bull on stage. I didn't want to spend more time shouting over the music at confused staff members. And look, at the end of the day, people need to realize the staff is only doing the best they can to try to accommodate the guests. Because I've had somebody yell at me about the, well, I'm really trying to enjoy the thing. I already missed the I was like, well, I apologize, but if you're trying to get help, then what more do you want me to do? It's like, I will help you the best way that I can and then get you, because this is what happened during the Mary J. Blige concert, that there was so many people there complaining about, oh, they didn't have the big screens on because they can't really see. And I'm like, look, all of that is paid for. So it's not our fault. That's Mary and them. They didn't pay to have those big screens on, the big jumbo screens. So if they didn't pay for it, you got to watch the show like everybody else is watching it. Look down at the stage and enjoy. So that was on her. So a lot of it, people need to realize when you in those live entertainment situations, a lot of it is not necessarily our fault. It's the company. So now they said that even although Beyonce is a master on stage and effortlessly powered through song after song, fans admit they felt defeated, saying, if I just stayed home, I could have watched the concert on YouTube from the comfort of my bed and saved for $700. Well, that's how I look at it. Now, they even tried to get a refund through, child, now good luck trying to get a refund of anything through Ticketmaster. They're a mess. And they said, she said, I was told there was nothing they could do and that their fine print states that they're not responsible for the venue screwing up my view. The only silver lining, a refund of the $114 service fee. But that doesn't exactly make up for the cost of the ticket, transport, and wasted time. The fans ended their rant with one last sting, saying, quote, I've seen almost every pop star from Beyonce's generation in concert, such as Alicia Keys, Rihanna, Britney, J-Lo, or I'd say Jennifer, Justin, they didn't say which one. I don't know if you're talking about Timberlake or Bieber, Miley, Pink, Christina, and this was by far the worst concert experience I've ever had. So that's coming from a disgruntled fan, but I want to hear from you all. What do you think of this? I mean, I want to hear the overall thoughts of what people thought who went to go see Beyonce and Cowboy Carter, who were complaining about this whole setup. And I think that's like, yeah, that's what you kind of have to deal with when you at these stadium type tours, when you're trying to get that eye level view of a show. And apparently, based off of where she got her tickets, I really need to see like receipts of exactly where she got her tickets from, so that way I could be able to determine like her overall complaint. But yeah, so I definitely want to hear from you all in regards to this. Do you think that she has a case, or is it just a situation of these are the risks that you have to deal with when you buy tickets to go see a concert, that there's going to be obstructive views or things blocked or whatever the case is. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.